If you own and run a company and you're struggling with what to do with it, this segment is going to give you some ideas. Stay with us. If you build a successful company and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, I want to talk about some options that I think really make a lot of sense. Now, what I'm going to assume here for a minute is you don't have any kids that are really capable of taking over the business. Maybe they're in the company, maybe they're on the payroll, but you don't have the CEO type to be able to carry on the legacy. And, you could just sell the thing in the marketplace and just get as much money you can and throw it in investments and carry on. But, there's not much purpose in that. There's not much stewardship in that. And at the end of the day, what have you done for the people that have worked for you? I'm going to suggest that there are a couple ways that you should think about selling your company to your employees. Now, you got to have a good management team, people that can operate and run the business successfully. You have to have a group of people that really would like to become owners. And then you've got to have people that have the vision to carry on the legacy. If God's given you the ability to have entrepreneurial spirit within your heart and soul, and you've used that to build the company up to the level that it is, you got to ask yourself, how many people do you care for? How many people are on the payroll? Are you key to taking care of families? Is your business key to taking care of families? And some of your most loyal people probably want to own a part of the company, if not a good part of it. So what are your options? If you can go out into the marketplace and earn $1 for the value of this company, or you can turn around and look at selling to your employees. Maybe you get 80 cents. Maybe you get 70 cents. Maybe it's not as much if you take it to the market. That discount that you might take, is it worth it? Because you set up people to carry on the legacy of the company and you set up management to be able to become equity owners. I think a lot of people discover that is more important than maybe the extra 20 cents they'll get if they sell to the marketplace. So there's a couple ways to think about doing this. One of them that is the most tax efficient way to sell your business is to set up an employee stock ownership plan and sell your company to the ESOP. One of the reasons why it's such a cool option is an ESOP is a qualified retirement plan. It's like a pension or a 401k plan. And you sell your company to that, and then employees that are on the payroll will automatically begin to develop and own shares in the company. But here's the key. If you're a C corporation and you sell your shares to the ESOP, as long as you take the money that you get out of the sale and invest it in common stocks or bonds of U.S. companies, you pay no capital gain tax. None. And when you pass away, there's a step up in basis on your stock. Your family never ends up paying the capital gain. It's a phenomenal tool to use. If you are a C Corp and you sell to the ESOP, if you then later convert to an S corporation, you pay no tax on the profits. So think about what the company can do if they don't have to pay taxes every year and they can reinvest those funds that would have gone to the IRS into growth, into expansion, create profitability. It's a huge, huge option for doing tax-efficient sales. And you set up your company to where all the people that work for you, they get a percentage of the company based on their percentage of the payroll. And as they age, they build all kinds of wealth that they can cash out and have security in retirement. And you did it by setting that up. Now, let's say that an ESOP is not the right thing to do, but you have 5 people that are key leaders of the company, you can consider selling to them. And that's also a very, very good way to do it. The difference with that sort of scenario is the financing is going to be different. The ESOP, you can go to the bank and have the company borrow the money, but some of it you hold back warrants so that you get paid later as the company grows and expands. But when you're doing an internal buyout with your key management people, they can go and get bank financing for a part of it, but you are going to carry a good part of the company's debt that you get paid over a period of time as these leaders take over the company and buy you out. So I want you to think about your role as this entrepreneur and this leader and maybe the founder of this company. What's the most important thing? Is it setting up the next generation for success and you get paid? Maybe not if it's an internal buyout. Maybe you don't get paid as quick as you would if you went out to the market. But you've taken your loyal, dedicated people that have been with you a long time and you've set them up for success. Isn't that more important than just the dollars that you'll have in your brokerage account that you've got for investments when it's all said and done? I think it is. I know security comes with money in investments. I know that. That's a no-brainer. But it doesn't make you happier. It doesn't make you feel like you're doing important things. It doesn't give you a sense of purpose by helping other people, helping the next generation build wealth and leverage wealth off of what you've been able to build and develop. I think it's a really important strategy to consider. But one thing I want you to think about is to make sure that you don't put around the table as potential shareholders people that are not that dedicated, people that feel entitled, people that can't get along with other people, and people whose personal lifestyles aren't solid. It's amazing how many times I run into business owners where they've got the blinders on and they're trying to get the best out of a certain executive, but that certain executive is into the bottle too much. Maybe his personal lifestyle is too decadent, and he's just not the kind of people that you really want to have around the table working with others to try to carry on the legacy. So be very careful that you don't invite everybody to the table. Now, when we talk about employees buying out, owning the company, again, that's only if you don't have children in the business that are capable of operating and running the company. But let me give you one more thing to think about. Sometimes there'll be one or two children in the business, and they're good at some things, but they can't function without other people that are non-family members. I had a company that I worked with one year that there was drama between the two sons, even to the point where one of them was working in another state and living in another state, and one of them was living here. And they had a key operational guy that ran the operation. He was the COO of the whole organization, and he was a very level-headed guy, and he wasn't in a position to where he would take sides with one or the other. And if Dad dropped dead, or Dad got sick and couldn't work in the business, the chances of these two children fighting with each other was super high. And my suggestion was, you've got to take that non-family member, even though you started this as a family business, you need to find a way to allow that non-family member to become a stockholder and a shareholder in the company, especially if he's going to be the buffer between the two children that aren't really getting along. It's super, super important that you do that. Now, last thing I want to talk about is the financing. Oftentimes, the way that an owner gets bought out, if it's not an ESOP, is through the dividends or the distributions that are paid to the new owners, that they turn around and pay for principal and interest payments back to you as a seller. And actually, probably in ESOP, it's the same thing. The cash flow that comes off of the ownership is where the dollars come to pay you money. So it's important to do a real deep dive into the economics of the business, get a good valuation, and then do cash flow models to see, okay, if I'm going to sell the company for this amount, and it looks like we're going to be able to average a certain amount of distributions, bonuses, etc., to the shareholders, then does that provide enough money after tax to pay the seller, me, basically, if I'm the owner, the money they need on an annual basis to get paid off? And so economic modeling is really, really important as you walk down this road. You got to make sure all the numbers work, along with making sure you've got the right people around the table. So to wind it up, I just want to say this. If you've started a successful company, if you've built it into something that is really special, yes, you can go to market and just get your money. When you're 75, 80 years old, and you look at it, and all you're doing is looking at your brokerage account and saying, gee, isn't that nice? It's not going to mean as much to you as if you can walk into an office and see all these people that you help become owners, and you've inspired them to up their game and become better and better at what they're doing from an owner and a manager standpoint. If you can walk in and have lunch with that team and you see the difference you made in the lives of those people, that's going to mean way more to you than having an extra amount of money in your brokerage account and having no impact on these people. And you know what happens when companies sell to other national firms that might be consolidators or private equity? They gut the places. And the way they make money is they fire as many people as they can. They centralize management so they can make as much money off of what they bought, and your people are kicked to the curb. Don't let that happen. Let us help you figure all this out. We'll help you do the assessments on the team and the people. We'll do the economic modeling to help you figure out whether the strategy will work. And we'll help you build a retirement forecast and a retirement plan so that you know exactly what your lifestyle is going to look like when it's all said and done. So let me know. Give me a call. I'll try to give you all we got to help you make a successful transition so that you can build a legacy and bless the people that have been your loyal participants in your company.